Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to this 13th episode of Being Social. As I always say, Being Social is a platform where I try to connect you with some inspiring minds and personalities in my own assessment, and we talk to them very normal, simple things. If they have to share any of their experiences and learnings, they will do that. So this evening we have a youngest guest so far. She is Ruchi Awasthi. Ruchi Awasthi works in Bengaluru, India, and if I'm not wrong, she is now currently working in the areas of expertise of IT as well as artificial intelligence. So we will talk to her on various things. Ruchi, welcome to our this episode on being social, and feel at home. We will not ask you embarrassing questions. There may be some questions interesting for us. So we'll, as we progress, sometimes audience may also ask some questions. We will respond to them as and when they ask, or maybe whenever we find it appropriate. So, Ruchi, tell us something about yourself, your education, your journey, and activities so far.
Got it. So, first of all, hi everyone. I am Ruchi, and my journey, I think I've been in the industry for around 4 years now. I am born and brought up in Kota, and I think that was one of the primary reasons that I joined Allen, which is an institute that helps you prepare for JE. And although that is a very not a very good reason to be doing IIT, but yeah, it was that. And I had joined Allen for I learned there for 2 years, and then I appeared for JAID once, and then I got selected at IIT Roorkee, where I did my course for 5 years, and I graduated in 2021 with majors in architecture and planning. But through my course curriculum, I was also learning about this field of data science, and I'd started learning it, I think, since second year. And I always wanted to be then in this field. So I applied for placements on the campus, and I got a job in the tech field. I started with JP Morgan as a quantitative research analyst, and then I've been working in the industry ever since then. Thankfully, there's like a boom of AI, and people are much more aware about what this field is. So yes, I'm currently working as an AI ML engineer with one of the data storage companies that's an MNC, and that's been my journey so far. Yeah.
So, from school, you straight away went to IIT.
No, of course, I did the schooling. I did that in Kota only. And like I said, I've been born and brought up in Kota. So I've been studying in Kota. Like I did all my schooling in Kota, including the coaching and everything. And then in 2016, I went to Roorkee.
Okay, so that's what I was wondering. That normally people take a break or take some time, but you straight away from 12th you walked on to IIT, and there you are. So, Ruchi, what did you study in IIT? I was told that you studied primarily architecture, and then
Yes.
you are working in the different field like IT and artificial intelligence. So, how does this gel with your
Together.
learning and expertise? Yeah.
Yeah, I've been asked this question a lot of time, and I think it's through and through my mind now how to answer this question. I started with architecture and planning without like no bias as to if I have to go into a technical field or not. I was pretty open to this field, but I think 1 year down the line, I was not enjoying the field a lot, and I was finding it a little manual and repetitive in terms of what we were doing and what the future beholds for somebody who's practicing as an architect. So then, just out of curiosity, I tried to do designing as well, which is your web design and UI UX design. And I learned a couple of tools like Photoshop, Illustrator. I participated in some campus group activities to get hands-on idea of what's there in the field. And I do have like a creative nudge for doing things. Like I do look at things creatively, but somehow doing them like something as a 9 to 5 thing didn't suit me a lot. So I joined a summer camp where I learned Java, which is a programming language, right? And I found it interesting. And then there was this field called data science, which was not very famous that time when I was doing it. I think in 2018. So I just learned it, and I learned it using some online courses that I did, and then I got into internships to get again more hands-on experience. And I did land up in an internship, which was a very small firm, but just good to have a gaze into what's there in the field. And then once I did that internship, it became easy for me to get other internship during my summer vacations. I participated in a research experiment that was happening in the campus. I published a research paper with one of the fellow PhD scholars in the computer science department. So that is how I got to know about their fields as well. And then with the research paper and with the internships on the resume, it became even more easy to get into this field further. Then I interned with Make My Trip, which was a corporation. I won't say an MNC, of course, but it was better than how I started. So that gave me an idea of how things are in startups and mid-sized startups and in a corporations. And then I got a job in JP Morgan, which was an MNC. So that gave me an idea about how things are there in MNC. So I think that is how the career progressed. Everything just happened one thing at a time. And yeah, that's the idea.
Great. So, boys and girls, the message which he is conveying is that if you don't like the major subject which you are doing, if you find it boring, you can still have options of adding on to your qualification by self learning as well as doing summer courses or online courses and all that. And yeah, and if you have a knack of it, the nuts for that, you will be going places like Ruchi. So, Ruchi, I was doing some spying on your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
So, I noticed you've been very humble in not mentioning those. So, I saw some awards and certifications and honors while your studies. What were those? Could you tell us, please?
I think awards were not something that I was chasing, but it's just being consistent gets you something in the field, and I was always grateful to have them. So I think the one that I could remember, like which is on top of the mind, and something that I remember even today was getting the award for the best final year project in my majors, that was architecture and planning, which people find weird because I was never doing it very wholeheartedly. I was just doing it so that I pass. But because I think I had that thing for creative field, I put in a lot of effort in my thesis, and then I got the award for institutional award for the best final year project. And then I was also the second ranker of my class. So that was one honor. And then post that, once I got into the field, when we got into the professional field, I participated in a couple of hackathons because that also supplements your knowledge. Then uh, I fortunately won a couple of them, like the ones that the office organizes, the one that there's also one international hackathon that I participated in, but I did not won it. But I did not win it, but yeah, but the participation alone was quite important to me. So those were the things that I did after that. And then mm, because then when I had 3 years of experience, 3 or 4 years experience in the field, I also got the chance to be a speaker at GHCI, which is Grace Hopper India chapter, which is a talk for to promote diversity and inclusivity in this segment, especially in tech. And I got to be a speaker on their platform, which was again a very big honor. And then I'll also be a speaker in coming August in a data hack summit where I'll be talking about AI and about how we can make sustainable AI. So I think it's just as you work in the field, you sort of get a little more recognition.
Thank you. We will talk a little more about AI as the conversation progresses. But in the
Hmm.
meanwhile, let me share some secrets with my viewers, the audience. So, audience, a little bird told me when Ruchi was young, She was always obsessed with the lipstick and the makeup goods of her mom, and always busy in front of the dressing mirror using all those things. So, Ruchi, that your childhood secret I have revealed. So, does fashion continue to you as a hobby, or you somewhere you have put it at the back of the burner or in the side burners?
I think fashion was more than a hobby. It's a way of life that I like it to be, and it's not just in the dress that I wear or the makeup that I put. It's in everyday things that I do. Like if I'm sitting somewhere, I want my bed to be of a certain color, and everything should match. My interior should match. My cushion cover should match my sofa, and I like creating these beautiful spaces where I live and with myself as well. So I like to have like a beautiful version of myself, and it does boost my confidence, not even lying about that. So I think with with the studies, I always felt that looking a certain way is also important for me and for my confidence, and that is why I do embrace it even today. Like even today, if I have to go to office, I would never be somebody who's wearing slippers and a normal jeans and top and going to office, because I would want to spend like good 15 minutes, half an hour before going to the office, because I like to be that way. I like to present myself that way. So I think if the question is if I'm still carrying it as a hobby, yes, I am. And more than that, as a way that I live every day, because every day should be beautiful and aesthetic.
Great. You have added to the knowledge of the mankind, because Benjamin Franklin, his oft quoted sentence was that eat for yourself and dress for others. But you added another dimension, that for keeping yourself in feel good frame of mind and for your own satisfaction, uh, you are happy walking along with your preferred dresses and colors and harmony of surroundings and all that. So great. So Ruchi, I forgot, but it's never too late. When you were mentioning from, we were discussing about architecture to IT.
Mhm.
So in the 19th century, there was a great English philosopher who is, for some reason, some in some minds, he's hated one also. His name was Lord Macaulay, who introduced English education in India. Who was a, I mean, he canvassed for it. He had a other side. So he used to say that intelligence is transferable. Like in our civil service also, they say intelligence is transferable. If you are doing studying architecture or psychology or some language, you can still catch up with the nuances of administration management, fiscal management, and whatnot. So similarly, the message for the young minds is that if you believe in it, that intelligence is, yes, it is always transferable, because if you do well in one area, you are bound to do equally well or even better with some orientation and new learnings. So that's another message we are trying to pass on to the viewers, uh, not to follow, just to keep it at the back of their mind, how it works, how people feel, and like that. um, I also, little bird also told me that Ruchi is very uh, fond of dance and music and all that. So, do you find time for that in your at your work, or because it's the busiest people who have to find times. Others have spare time, like people like me.
Uh, no, that's true. I think I categorize myself as somebody who's jack of all trades, master of none, and it is sometimes so difficult that I like to do painting, but then I feel like okay, I should also dance. Then I do dancing, then I feel like okay, I should also probably write something, and then I do writing. I feel like okay, I also need to upskill myself and get into the field. So it's difficult for me, not in terms of time management, but in terms of okay, what do I really want to do? But I think I enjoy all of these things, And in terms of managing time, it does become difficult a lot of time, because so for example, I'm working in a US based company right now, and I do have meetings at night. And it is not that, you, because your meetings have got over at 10 p.m. and you shut down the laptop and your brain is going to shut down. It does not happen that way. It stays with you till 12, and it's there in the back of your mind, and your mind is constantly working. So it becomes difficult to get some time out in weekday. And then there's this constantly, you have to take out time for things you love and things that make you happy. And I personally feel that it should not happen that you're waking up every day and you're doing your office work and then you're shutting your laptop and you're sleeping. um, I feel like there should be a balance in terms of what you do at office, in terms of what you do outside office, things that you love, going to gym, probably spending some time on your hobby. It should have a balance of all of that. And as long as those things please you, you will be able to take out time for them, and that is what happens with me as well. I also personally like creating content a lot on Instagram, and that also involves a lot of time, like in terms of identifying the topic, video editing, scripting, editing, putting it, hashtags, everything. So it's like an end-to-end pipeline in itself. So I try to, for example, in this case, I try to think of or brainstorm all the ideas on Sunday and make sure I record two of them or three of them, and they're all raw. And then I go to work the other day, and then I have 1 hour in my hand, let's say, spare. So I use that time to edit it, and then by Tuesday I would have the edited part of it, and then by Wednesday I'll be able to upload that. So just scooping out probably half an hour or 1 hour every day, it just then falls into place. So I think if you love something, you will be able to take out time for them.
Great, great. These are great learnings for anyone on life skills management. Breaking of routine is very important, and doing multiple things, multiple tasking makes you happier in multiple ways. So each time you have a new thing, you have a new achievement. So these are very important things. There is a viewer reaction. Professor Chandrasekhar, he says intelligence is transferable in other ways also. For example, if you are intelligent and I come into your contact, I also learn new things. So I hope Professor Chandrasekhar is learning new things from Ruchi now, because the Niti Shloka said, Baladapi Subhashitam Grahyam. From children also, if there is something good to learn, well, we must learn. So you are like a child only for most of us. So you can call yourself Bal, little one, the kid. So Ruchi, just extending on to your Instagram activities, I have been looking at your posts and reels in Instagram. So earlier you were giving very good tips to anyone about how to make use of Chat GPT, how to make use of other tools, and how not to waste time on what you can get it done through the artificial intelligence routes. So and many more those interesting things you were doing. I think you were doing by rotation once. Kritatya, who is now your spouse, and once you alternatively you are doing. So what all topics you covered in there?
I think over the internet, specifically the Instagram part, I did try with a couple of things initially, and then there was this one fine day that I shared my 9 to 5 routine, like a daily vlog, a 30-second vlog, and it blew up. It got, I think, close to 2 million views. And the majority of people who commented on the video were, how do we get into data science, and what's the procedure, what should we learn, what courses should we take up. And that gave me a hint that maybe people don't know the right roadmap, or probably a starting point from where they should start. And then, just as an experiment, I had put down the roadmap defining how I started, or what YouTube courses they can look at, or other courses that they can look at. And then through that, a lot of people joined me. A lot of people who were not aware of what should be the starting point joined me, and through their comments I used to understand, okay, what are people wanting to see more. And I anyway had an inclination towards video editing and making content, so it also fell into place that way. And so therefore the kind of content that I share mostly is about, how can you start off in the AI, what tools can you use that can help you become more efficient in what you're currently doing. Because I don't feel that we can sit down there and say, okay, AI is nothing and we should not adopt it, and AI is going to take our jobs and everything. I don't think that it can work that way. It's there and it's making an impact, and it's a high time that we adopt it in what we are doing in our everyday activity to become more efficient and more relevant. So that is, those tips and tricks are some things that I share, and those work. And then there was other the Instagram page that I started with Kritage, which is Knowledge Days, where along with AI we also shared general tips, and even today I share general tips and tricks with him about, about something around finance, about the right credit card to buy, about how can we split expenses, how can we manage expenses better. So I think the niche is mostly around being more productive in your work, in your life in general, lifestyle management, leading a balanced healthy lifestyle. So even on my Instagram I try to promote that, okay, taking out 1 hour for exercise is important. Eating a balanced diet is important, because you cannot end up eating from outside every day. So this is what I promote. This is what I want people to come on my profile. When they scroll through my profile, this is what I want to take. They want them to take away from me.
You forgot to mention the young couple finances
Yes.
management. That is, tell us
Expense
something about that. When people are young, they don't do financial planning,
Yeah.
while you guide them to do that. Tell us something on that. What you suggest to them?
I don't guide people to do something. I just tell people what I do and what's my rationale and thinking behind what I'm doing. So I think I have talked, even in my initial years, I talked with people, and not a lot of people do a lot in terms of managing their finances. Like there's salary coming and it's sitting there in the salary in their savings account, and it should not happen that way. So from there I realized that maybe people should know about, okay, you can put in some money in your SIPs, you can put in some monies in your PPFs, PFs, probably EMIs, taking a loan, taking a house, taking a plot, whatever your salary allows you, right? uh, it should not happen that 100% of your salary is sitting in your savings account, because then your spendings are going to be very high, and you might end up spending on things that you might not need. Whereas if you know that there's constantly something that's cutting out of your salary, you'll be more aware and you'll plan the way you do your expenditure better. So that is what I try to convey as well. And then after I got married, that is what we tried to convey as a couple as well, because couple finances is also something that's new to people. That, how do we split our expenses, how do we manage expense better, because there are more expenditures. You get a house, you need to get a new sofa, you need to get a new dining table, and there are n number of things, right? So we just try to share what we are doing to plan better, and we are always open in comments as well. If somebody can give us more advices to become better ourselves, we're not saying that we are pros, but just sharing our lifestyles out there.
So that sharing use cases, maybe of your own financing methods, helps people to, that people learn from others more. And when they know, if somebody is saying that, somebody is saying with the experiences, and maybe making up with some mistakes also they would have done, so people learn from the others experiences. There's another user question here, viewer question. Dr. Uma, she's asking, with your experience, would you like to share some of the practical tips related to healthy lifestyle, particularly sleep, diet, physical activity, and emotional management? That's a new aspect. The last one.
Emotional management is, I think, something even I am struggling with, and I'm trying to take a lot of control over that and see how I can manage them. But I think if you go on them one by one, Diet is very important. I remember myself when I was 22, 23 year old, and eating out frequently was a thing. But then as I realized, as I grow up, I can see my metabolism slowing, and I can see that my body needs me. So I try to have like homemade food. Eating, let's say, 3 meals outside a week is the maximum cap. So probably learning some quick dishes, because if you don't have time you might end up ordering from outside, so you can just learn some quick dishes, some easy healthy dishes. Having a balanced diet is very important, because I think Indian diet is very carb heavy, and we feel that having poha is light or having upma is good, but we need to understand the micro and the macronutrients involved in that. So always say I top it up with having boiled eggs, so that I eat less portion of poha or upma, which are more carb heavy, and have some protein there. Start my day with fiber, starting my day with chia seeds that can help, with antioxidants, and with fiber, and with, helping my digestive system. So this is something that I try to have in the day, and then slowly and gradually it comes in your routine. So I know that to wake up I have to have warm water with lemon and chia seeds. It's there in my routine now. So portion control is one thing, for example. So I won't say eliminate rice or eliminate wheat. I don't promote that kind of a diet for myself or for people I love. But I would say, okay, have little rice, little dal, and more like boiled vegetables, and having some Greek yogurt or curd, for example, as well. That works, or having some protein like rajma or something like that. This is what I try to, follow in terms of diet. And in terms of sleep as well, I think having 8 hours of sleep is important. And besides that, having a routine in sleep is also very important. So I try to sleep by 12 and wake up by 8. Not completely healthy, but given my schedule, that's the best that I could do. Like, it's so difficult to shut down the laptop and then take out time for something that you want to do outside office, and then also sleep at 12. It becomes very difficult at times, and I do end up stretching at 1 and 2 a.m as well. But then I try to make sure that I'm on bed by 12 a.m. at no cost, and then I wake up at 8 a.m. and I do, and I don't even force myself to have, like, I need to have 1 hour of exercise, I need to go to the gym. I don't want to force that on myself. I make sure that I just do something every day, because if I force anything, that won't happen with me. I cannot function like that. So I just make sure that even if it's 30 minutes, I'm doing something, and if it's 1 hour, I'm doing something. So for on weekends, I'm able to do like 1.5 hour of exercise as well. So I think this is what I try to follow for myself as well. And yeah, that's the idea. And mental health, which Uma ma'am mentioned, is very important. There is people do have like meditation and things like that. I'm trying to have that in my lifestyle. I'm really not doing good in those terms. I'm still trying to have it in my routine. But yes, stress management, meditation is something that's also very important.
You forgot to mention yoga, which you have been practicing off and on at least, which also helps. It's a precursor of meditation, I would say.
Yeah.
They are if they are done together, then they give salutary results to people. So, guys, remember what Ruchi said about having a healthy lifestyle, having good life skills. It is for yourself. Your body needs you and your attention, and metabolism related things also you should be aware about. And proper sleep. If you can't make it 9 to 4 like Akshay Kumar, or 10 to 6 like others, then even if you are doing 12 to 8, it's fine. A, a friend of mine who was a doctor, he long back mentioned to me, if you sleep before 12 midnight, the effect is double. Of you sleep for 2 hours, the effect is of 4 hours. If you sleep after 12, then it is, if you sleep for 4 hours, it gives you effect of 2 hours. But that may be, there is no evidence, or I never heard it from anyone else. So he may be having his own reasons or experiences on that. But generally, he was trying to say, if you can sleep on time, it's fine. Otherwise, 8 hours sleep is good for you for your weight, for your health, and for your rest of your mind also, because your minds also needs rest. People are busy, the minds are very busy these days. So Dr. Uma says thanks for sharing these doable practical tips. Hope everyone will take notice of that, those who are here or those who watch this later in the recording. They will get benefited from that, and knowledge can come from anywhere, as long as you implement that. That is more important. Just by knowing, you don't really do any good to yourself. If you cannot do it in practice, then you are no good. You are like me, who would say something and not practicing himself. And the quality of sleep does matter. That's again Dr. Uma's comment. I'm not owning it up. So she's saying yes, something similar. I was trying to say the quality of sleep, because you should, before you go to sleep, you must have some quiet time with yourself. Like in the management, also in psychology, also people say that before you sleep, just before you sleep, or just after you get up, you should give auto suggestions to yourself, so your mind takes them. I am good. I am very good. I will doing well. I am healthy, and I am having a good time. I am at rest. I am at peace. Those things you will tell your mind. The mind is not as intelligent as us. So mind sometimes you accepts those auto suggestions and believes that yes, things good are happening to us. Now, Ruchi, I will ask you something diametrically opposite to what we have been talking now. It is very exemplary things what you are doing, and many people like you are doing by making use of the IT, or the digital methods, AI methods. But there is a flip side of that, is that too much of screen time is being used nowadays. People from the age of being a toddler to the uh, senior citizens and very senior citizen, they're always glued to some screen or other. Nobody has time for anyone else. Socialization also, people feel very happy saying that I am doing socialization virtually. So the more of virtual world, people start preferring to real world. So which is something very dangerous, particularly for the young ones. That so how do you cope up with those situations? Have you ever had similar overindulgences with these digital gadgets?
There are times when this happens, right? And because let's say I have to create content on Instagram, my Instagram screen time is higher than other apps. And so because I've grown old and I know that the harmful effects of this could be there. I delete my Instagram, as like my Instagram is deleted at this moment, because I don't have to post anything and I don't have to create anything, because it's already done for the week. So maybe when I have to post it, I'll just reinstall it back. So if you're aware of it, you'll take measures for it. But that is because I have developed my brain now, and all of us have developed our brain now. We're all adults. But for kids, particularly toddlers, it's difficult for them to identify, what are the harmful things associated with this. And when we see our adults being glued to the screen, this is what they also learn from us. But then there's one thing that we cannot deny, that this is a tech first world. We cannot deny that. And if if our kids are not up to date with what's going in the technical industry, we could have something like, for example, the generation above us, like our parents, they are not that well versed with computers, but we did have computers as a subject, and the reason for that was the computers were there, the technological revolution had come in, so we had to learn it, and that is why we are fluent with it. So we cannot completely cut them off from this. But I think for toddlers, it's more of a responsibility for the parents and the elders who are attending to them, to also let them understand the harmful effects associated with it, and to create that balance initially for them, so that once when they are adult, they are able to identify, what's right for me, what's wrong for me, and to what extent, because you cannot completely cut this off, and you should not completely cut this off, and then take a more informed decision when they grow old, let's say by the age of 15 or 16, then they, are good enough to take decisions on their behalf. So that's my take on this.
Yes, that's very important because when you are done with your education, you are in a good job. Then by then you have your own responsibilities and learnings. But when you are kids, you really get fascinated with the beginning, starting with cartoons and then their voice and then the games and many more social media. What is the social media also is a kind of revolution in the world of late, but there is too much of misuse of social media also by the hackers, by the cyber attackers, by the uh, politicians, by the mudslinging people, by miscreants and all that. So, what is your thought on having remedial measures on social media control? Should it be open-ended, or would it be would there should there be some regulations? I remember many years back, countries like Korea and China and some other countries I don't remember now. Their army guys, they were their defense people. They were glued to playing the blue whales and PUBG and all that. So they put bans on them and put them to boot camps and for their rehab. And they said nothing doing, but 1 hour a week you can. But beyond that, if you do, then you will be punished. And they had developed ways of monitoring those things. Those were old times. Nowadays there are many more things have come in, so what is your thought about where world is going with this kind of social media, both for good reasons and bad reasons?
Yeah, I think there's both pros and cons of where we are heading to, and how we think of utilizing the technology that we have, and what AI, for example, has given us is completely up to us. So, for example, there have been a lot of cases recently about deep fake, or about people impersonating somebody else, and impersonating people's voice, their images, and foul play involving all of that, which looks dangerous. But again, being aware of, how do we make a judgment of what could be right and what could not be right is important, and that judgment comes from being aware of what technology has to offer us. So for example, if I am here and I work in this industry, I know how can I manipulate images, how can I manipulate videos. I can make it out, for example, whether it's an AI generated thing, or it's an, humanly manually written thing. So being aware of all of that is important. Being aware of what's happening in tech is important. uh, there are apps, for example, Instagram itself and Meta for that matter, um, who are trying to have these regulations put in places. There are other ways in which they are trying to identify that, okay, this is an AI created content, be aware. There are tags that now, before we post anything, if there's an AI generated content, we have to we have to put in a tag that, okay, this is AI generated, so that people, when they're viewing the reel, they know that, this is AI generated, so we don't have to believe this blindly. Even beyond that, they're having checks that whatever we are putting, it should not have anything harmful, anything malicious, anything spammy, or anything that could trigger feelings of distress or emotional breakage in people. So they are also, as things have become easier, they've also become more, like difficult, they've become more easy to be exploited. So so companies are doing their things from their end, and we should also do things from our end by being aware of what's going in the industry. And then there are people who are also utilizing it for the for good cause. So for example, there was one colleague of me who had a son, small son, and he had his exams or something, and then this person, colleague of mine, he created a questionnaire for that son using chat gpt like software, and then gave that, uploaded his notes, and then he could create questions and gave those questions to his son, and his son could practice, and that is a way in which he could test that whether he's prepared for the exam or not. So then there are people like us as well who are actually making use of it, not sitting and writing questions, because that's not the right way of doing it. If there are tools, we should use them, right? So I think there are both pros and cons of it, and for us it's good to be aware of what's there in the industry, so that we can make out what's fraudulent, or what could be possibly fraudulent, or what could be completely trusted.
Okay, thank you for those views. And let's talk a little bit on artificial intelligence now. My knowledge of artificial intelligence is only artificial because I never learned it. But long back, 88, 89, when I used to study in UK, I had a flatmate who is now vice provost in Singapore Management University, and he was also one of my guests here in this being social couple of months back. So he was doing PhD, and I asked him what PhD you are doing. So he said, I am working on expert systems, and I'm learning and using Turbo Prolog. So I asked him what does it mean. He said this is called artificial intelligence. So it's not that artificial intelligence is something came up as a mutation very recently. So even in the scientific systems and the aeronautics and all that, artificial intelligence was in use. Now it is percolated down to almost all fields. That's how we get to hear more about it. So tell us what is the growth graph of artificial intelligence, and if I said what I perceived was right or not.
The field is very, like, in terms of depth, it has a lot of depth. I don't know if I'll be able to answer to the question, because then there's so many answers that are building in my brain right now, because it is so deep. But one thing that I completely agree with is that artificial intelligence has definitely become more accessible to us as everyday users, although it existed for a long time. But it has definitely become more accessible and more functional and accurate, especially for some fields like content generation, web search. It's doing really good, right? So so I think this field did exist. What I'm seeing as a general notion in the industry right now is that people think that AI is going to take their jobs, and there's a lot of job crunch because of that, and there are layoffs because of AI, which to a certain extent is true. But then again, there are other jobs that have been created because of AI as well. Like, there are jobs that I see right now, like prompt engineers or AI consultants or AI specialists, that did not exist before, and these are all new jobs that have been created. I think we had this similar notion when industrial revolution had happened, and people were not wanting to accept machines, saying that, it would remove the workers and it would take away our wages. But then adopting machines was important, because it is because of machines that I'm able to wear this shirt, which is 500 rupees, because nobody would have sat there and stitched this for me, and I would have purchased it for 2000 bucks. No, right? So machines were important, and then because machines came, more products came. With more products, more problems came, and with more problems, more jobs were made. For example, with machines came cars, and with cars came car mechanics, right? So that's the same notion that people have for AI. They are afraid in adopting it, thinking that it might take their jobs, but that won't happen. It would create new jobs definitely, and it is creating. And having said that, it is very very much important for us to use that in our day-to-day tasks. For example, if somebody comes to me and they, ask my advice onto it, I tell them that you sit down and you try to identify 3 to 5 tasks that you do every day, which are manual, which are taking up your time, and you try to just automate them using, there are n number of tools on the internet using AI. Sometimes maybe a chat GPT can do those 5 tasks for you. And you see, is it reducing your time? Is it making you more efficient, taking your time out for other things to do? And that is how you expand further and become more efficient and optimized, and that is how you're going to stay relevant. That is what will give you an edge over other employees. And you would stay, your job would be safe. So that's my take on it. I think we should not be afraid of AI. We should adopt it, because sitting there and saying that AI is nothing, or AI is a fad, or AI would go away, that won't happen. And because I'm an AI engineer myself, uh, when chat gpt answers something for you, for instance, I am able to visualize what must be actually happening behind the backs. There are transformer architectures, there's so much research and algorithm that's going on behind that for it to give that answer. It's not a fad, it's something that people have put in their brain, and it's pure maths and logic that's working behind, and it cannot be a fad, right? And that has come a long way. Like, our transformer architecture is something that has transformed the way large language models work. So that's my idea. You cannot sit there and say this is nothing, because there's a lot of research that has happened, and we've seen a lot of progress, and we are yet to see a lot of progress further. And I think there's one same example, like for self-driving cars, right? I was listening to this talk by Andrej Kaprati, where he mentioned that self-driving cars are there in the industry since, I think, 2013, 2014. And when they came, nobody thought that cars would be able to drive themselves, and it's completely unsafe and it won't happen. But then we do have self-driving cars, and it's 2025. I won't say it's that prevalent or it's that safe, but with a little human intervention, self-driving cars are a thing. And that's the same thing for AI. Maybe it's not there right now, in terms of how accurate it is, or in terms of how reliable it is. There are hallucinations, there are biases, agreed. But with time, I think there's a lot of progress that we are yet to see.
Yeah, very well said. And in fact, one of the areas which was unthinkable earlier, we always used to complain about the vacancy of teachers in schools. So, starting with Kerala, you have now robotic teachers, the equipped with artificial intelligence, and they know everything. And the questions also they answer. They are draped in saris, look like humanoids. And I was pleasantly surprised a couple of months back. I read that such teachers are now there in some places in Uttarakhand also, where you have a uh, vacancies for teacher perennially. Nobody wants to go to those places. So these will be the game changers eventually. Loss of jobs when the computers came, everyone said so. There used to be industrial unrest, and even in the government. In my previous birth, I used to work in the government. So in the government, when we started using computers, the unions got together and started saying that this will create job loss, and this will create uh, uh, unhealthy practices. So we are against it, and blah blah. So we had to give them assurances at the level of parliament, at the level of ministers and prime minister. There will be no loss of jobs. Effectively, I have been a witness to that. The number of jobs got increased. We never had computer teachers, tutor, and the program writers, and the website makers. Although all these new things came. So as you rightly said, that the new set of jobs are being created now. You have got uh, the whole internet is full of advertisements saying that we join my course on AI, learn this, learn that, and all that. And you can for a small thing like making an audio book, it's just so simple now.
That's
Just
right, yeah.
just get something, and being a lyricist, I have tried my hands on some music making AI apps, one of the apps. It does in no time the composing, the music, and the voice also, and you just have to guide it that what kind of instruments and what is the genre you are expecting, or those things. You can also get it revised. So these things are happening. Even chat gpt, you can ask them to write an essay or a book or a I saw one software recently in the social media. Smith Books. Smith Books says that just have this software and tell us your topic. We will write a book for you. And with Amazon, we have got a tie-up. You will start getting royalty, and we will the copyright be also yours. But we will do everything for you. So those kind of things. Hopefully, it will not be misused by students making projects like engineering students and the school students used to make projects by the colony shops where some people were writing those projects and just put your name like that. Anyways, those are things. They are the individual ethics and behaviors they govern. So Ruchi, we have discussed many things, and is there any message would you like to convey to young people and the old people both? I mean, not the old, the adults or the senior citizen. I mean,
I think um two primary messages that I would want to convey would be, one is that always try to chase balance and not perfectionism. Always try to be consistent. Like I said, it should not happen that you're waking up every day and you're doing work and you're going to sleep. Always keep trying new things, and you never know what possibilities could those avenues bring you. You cannot anticipate any of them, but in your mind you should just say yourself that I have to wake up and I have to do this, and that's it, without thinking of rewards or without thinking of fame. And then you'll realize just how things fall into place just because you are being consistent. I think that is the primary message. And the second message would be to keep upskilling but not get overwhelmed, because this is also something that I hear a lot from people, that there's just so much happening. How much should we learn? And there's just no stopping. But it's important to upskill, but not be overwhelmed and afraid of what's the AI is bringing to you. I'm saying it in respect of AI because that is what comes to me every day. But that should never stop you from upskilling. Every day you just give yourself tiny goals that I have to be a better version of myself than I was yesterday. And it could be in any way possible. It should not be like climbing a Mount Everest level of a thing, but just small things which just makes you a better person than you were yesterday. And then over time you just be a version of yourself that you won't recognize.
what about the message to senior citizen who think that they are digitally challenged?
Upskilling is the message for them as well. There's no age for upskilling. I think with the advent of chat gpt, if everything is just one click away, everybody can learn that way, right? You talk with chat gpt and it's going to give you answer how you can upskill.
Yes, walking with the time is very important because now everything is online, everything is digitized, everything is password protected and password based and all that. So if you learn those small things, then world is at your fingertips, literally at your fingertips. For that fingertips, use of those fingertips, you need the laptop or a mobile. Mobile is good enough for senior citizen, and they don't have to worry about laptop and those bigger gadgets like me. तो सोचिए, एक बात रह गई कि जैसे आप AI इंजीनियर हैं या जो भी हैं, तो आप लोग जैसे आपके जॉब में विदाउट रिवीलिंग योर any secrets which are not to be shared. तो वो क्या करते हैं, ये इंजीनियर क्या करते हैं कंपनीज में?
It differs company to company, but um, I think there are three primary ways in which companies are functioning. Three um, ways in which companies are using AI. One is the companies that are creating these models for you. For example, ChatGPT is working on a transformer model. It's a mathematical model. There's somebody who's sitting and creating them. There are researchers and computer scientists who are doing it for them, who are creating these models for you, right? So that is a more research oriented work. And there are, in India, there are not a lot of companies. I think there is Sarvam AI, which also got government funding recently as a sovereign. They're promoting themselves as a sovereign AI company, a company for India, AI for India. And then there is Krutrim by Ola, who's also claiming to be doing something similar. So there are not a lot of companies here, especially in India, that are doing this research focused work. The second segment is the companies who are using AI to automate their workflows. So, for example, customer support is one segment, and there used to be people who would sit and take up every call and try to debug it and identify what's the problem, solve it, close the loop with the customer. Now this is a workflow, and this could be automated because you can have like an AI who's sitting there because they can talk, who can convert speech to text. So whatever I'm speaking, they can convert it into text, and they can see that, okay, has something like this happened before historically? Okay, what was the resolution for that? Okay, let me give the same resolution to this person, maybe it could get solved. So that is automating that pipeline, so that you don't need the customer support agent, or you need them very later in the stage, not initially. So that is one. You identify workflows and try to automate them. That a lot of companies are doing, using these models that are available for our disposal use, right? And then the third would be the companies who are still doing classical data science, where they are building small models, not large language models like the ones that are built, that ChatGPT is built on, but small models that were not there before the advent of all of these large language models, the ones that I started with back then when I was in college. So these are small models. They can train on small data set, and those could be used for example, recommendation, that you go on Netflix, and then how does Netflix know that this is the movie that you like? So it has a personalized recommendation model that recommends the right movie for you based on whatever you have historically seen, or whatever match that genre. So they have the classical ML model that's been trained on your data that they have over the days that you have spent watching on their platform. So then that there's classical modeling. So I think the second and the third segment is where there are a lot of job opportunities right now. The first one is more research oriented, but if you have really good knack of it and you're really interested in understanding what's actually happening behind the back, those could be the right companies to go for.
Thank you. That explains that whenever I search for some product in Amazon,
Yes.
immediately my Facebook starts getting similar products from Flipkart and Snapdeal and whatnot. So they keep track of what we are doing. So whatever we key in, the Google and these artificial intelligence guys, they know. And I mean, not they know. I mean, the kind of bots they have created, they start working on that. Unfortunately, my experience with the bots in the customer service is very poor because they don't understand the real questions, and they say we don't understand what you are saying. So once I also tried to fool with the bot. I said, "You are useless idiot." He says, "You should be a little more polite, but I will hopefully be better, give you better service in future." So those kind of well, even those things they are trained with. So we have couple of two three reactions. Shashi Pathak says, "Nice conversation. Stay blessed." There is somebody from Bengaluru, Kritagya. He is saying great session. And there is one Mr. Mahesh Pathak from Delhi. He says good information. And Ruchi, we have come towards the end of it. I provoked you to speak in Hindi, but तुमने हिंदी बोला नहीं. तो अब ये जो रिफ्लेक्स क्वेश्चन मेरे 5 हैं, मैं अंग्रेजी में पूछूंगा, आप हिंदी में जवाब देने की कोशिश करेंगी, ताकि हमारा जो अ, राजभाषा है उसमें भी लोगों को कुछ सुनने को मिले कि हाँ भाई, जो इतनी अच्छी अंग्रेजी बोलते हैं बच्चे, बच्चे नहीं कहूँगा, द प्रोफेशनल्स, बच्चे तो मतलब हमें लगता है आप लोग बच्चे हो. So these are one word or two word answers. The reflex question इसको इसलिए कहता हूँ मैं कि because I expect you to immediately reply instantly without thinking. The first one is, what is the preferred place, home or away?
Home or
Away,
away?
away from
Away.
home. Yes.
Home.
Joint family or nuclear family?
Nuclear family.
Cook for you or keep a cook?
Keep a cook.
Artificial intelligence or human intelligence? The answer is very obvious though.
I don't think either of them can exist independently, but
Yeah.
artificial intelligence because it's my bread and butter.
Okay. This is also, I know the answer. What you will say. Work from office or hybrid?
Hybrid.
Yes, that gives you better perspective uh, of being at home, as well as not missing office, not getting lazy around at home. So Ruchi, thank you very much for your time, and we had very good knowledge, learning from your conversation based on your answers and others. So thank you very much, and maybe after a couple of years or so, we will again have you here. Till then, have a good time. All the best, and stay blessed. There is another one more gentleman from Indore, Mr. Kishore. He's saying extremely insightful session. Thank you, Kishore, and everyone for watching. And please share with their friends and others, and let them also get benefited with this. And the link which you have is also will also work for watching the recording, which is automatically being recorded. Thank you once again, Ruchi, and have a good evening.